Hello and welcome to another video. It's Simon Hurley from Inklips. Today I'm going to be showing you a mass-producing technique to create 4 different cards using entirely one sheet of cardstock and lots of different layered stamping. We're going to be using this W+9 stamp set called Fresh Cut Florals. The thing that I really love about this stamp set is that it has many different images in it that layer together super nicely, but they're all a different variety of flowers. So you get a ton of different flowers in one stamp set rather than just getting one kind of flower, and these will work together to create a really fun background like we're going to do today. So for this technique, we're going to start out with some Hot Mama ink from Simon Says Stamp. This is a light purple color, and it will actually soften and smooth as it goes into the cardstock, so it will lighten up and go to a more lighter purple color. I'm going to stamp the most solid image using this from the flower, and I'm going to stamp that randomly on my cardstock. Really no following a pattern here. I'm just kind of stamping these randomly wherever it seems that these will fit. Now remember, there will be lots of flowers on this, so you don't need to try to fill up the whole cardstock here. I'm next going in with some grape juice ink from Hero Arts to do the top layer of this. Once again, it looks kind of like a really vibrant color right now, but it will soften and smooth into my paper to become lighter, so it's not going to be as dark as it appears when I first stamp it down. You'll notice that I accidentally got a little smudge of ink onto my cardstock. Later on in the video, I will be showing you how to kind of patch that up and fix it to make it unnoticeable on your card. So next I'm going in with some green apple ink from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to be stamping down all of these leaves. These are some great leaves here, but they do not have a layering image to go with them, so there's 2 versions of this. One is leaning one way and one's leaning the other. This is awesome because then I can have 2 leaves on one flower kind of leaning in different directions. So I'm just going on and stamping those along. Now I fast forward this video a lot so you guys wouldn't have to stick along and see this whole thing, because in all it took me about 30 minutes to create this whole pattern paper sheet. So I just kind of sped it up, and I hope you guys don't mind. Next I'm going in with some Malibu ink and the most solid image for a different flower. This is a smaller flower, and again I'm just kind of filling in some more space with this flower. Then I'm going to go in with Audrey Blue, and I'm going to stamp the next layer of that on here. You guys have probably seen me do layered stamping if you've been sticking around on my channel for a while. If you haven't, I will leave a link on the top of the screen to another video that I will show more in depth about how to do some layered stamping if you're new to this technique. I'm going to go in with some more green apple ink from Simon Says Stamp and stamp these smaller leaves for these blue flowers here. I'm just going to continue stamping some leaves. You want kind of an even balance of greens and colors on your card. I found that when I used to try and not stamp as many leaves, it didn't work out too well. You really want a lot of different leaves behind your flowers, and it makes it look really nicely and kind of balances out the different colors. Then I'm going to go in with some green leaf ink, and I'm going to stamp the top layer of that onto those leaves. I love this layering technique. It really gives your images a lot of different dimension on your cards, and just stamping these really gives it a lot of, more dimension and depth. Now I'm going in with a bigger leaf here. This is catkin ink. It's more of a yellow kind of green color. I wanted a different color for my leaves, so this is what I went with. And in the end, it actually turned out really nicely. It did soften up, like most of these inks do, as it goes into the cardstock, so it's not nearly as vibrant as it shows on the screen right now. After I finish stamping those catkin leaves, I'm going to go into some Lucky ink, which is a darker color from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to layer that up with that darker color on top of that catkin ink to give it more depth. So I'm just going to continue on stamping these images out, and I'm going to pull out some more stamps for another flower here. When you really think about it, you might think that this might take a long time to create all this pattern paper. For me, like I said, it took about 30 minutes for me, but 30 minutes to create 4 different unique cards is not too bad, and I think that for mass producing these cards, they look really good, and if you put all different sentiments on each one, you'll create some really cool cards in a short amount of time. So now I'm going in with some lemon chiffon ink from Simon Says Stamp, using this other flower here, and I'm going to stamp that bottom layer down. And again, wherever there is space, I will just stamp it down on my cardstock. The next color I'm going to use is called Golden Locks. This is a nice kind of in-between color, in between like a yellow and an orange. Again, like I keep mentioning, these colors will soften into the cardstock, so the color that you see right when I'm done stamping it will lighten up and kind of soften as it goes into the cardstock, because these are hybrid inks. So I'm just going to continue layering these images. They don't have to be perfect when you stamp them. That's really not what these stamp sets are about. They're just kind of, you have to get pretty close to that, and it will look really nice. So now I'm going to go on with that final layer, and I'm going to use some Sunshine ink from Simon Says Stamp, which is kind of a more orange color. Then I'm going to use a khaki ink for the stem. That's more of a brown color there, and it's a really nice light kind of tan brown color that we're using here. Okay, so as we continue on here, I'm going to pull out some more stamps, put away some stamps. I only have a certain amount of acrylic blocks here, so I had to kind of figure out which stamps I was going to mount at which time and things like that, because I only have, like I mentioned, a certain amount of acrylic blocks, so I really couldn't mount all the stamps at once. So then I'm going to stamp these little branches. I think I'm using Sparrow ink from Simon Says Stamp here. I love this color. It's kind of in between a black, gray, kind of brown color here, and it's a really nice in-between color. And then I'm going to be stamping these berry flowers in pink. I'm starting off with some Teeny Bikini ink. This is one of my latest colors here. And I'm going to be stamping that down. I love how these berries look when you stamp them. And then the layering image that goes on top of them actually looks really cool when you're done layering it. So I'm just continuing on stamping right above these images, and you'll notice how that really builds a scene. Or actually, I'm sorry, that first color that I used there was Cotton Candy, and this second color here is Teeny Bikini. So Teeny Bikini is a little bit darker than Cotton Candy when you layer it up. It's kind of hard to see right now on screen, but it layers up really nicely, and as my scene comes together, it keeps building this awesome background cardstock, and I love the way that it's turning out. To finish this off, I'm just going to go in and add a little bit more. I think I'm adding a couple more leaves here. Oh, I'm adding the insides of those flowers first. Using some dark blue. I think this is Island Blue. And I'm going to use that ink from Simon Says Stamp to stamp kind of the centers of those flowers. I forgot about those at the beginning of the card, so it's better off to finish them now. So then I'm going to cut this stamp in half. This is the berries stamp. And I'm going to cut that in half, so there's only 3 of them. And I'm going to then stamp it down using some Sparrow ink. I'm going to just stamp down these dots kind of randomly. Maybe they're like seeds. I don't really know exactly what I was going for here. But it just adds a little bit more detail to my card where I needed to fill in some of these images. I actually didn't have any more flowers here to fill in because I've had used them all on the card, so I didn't want to add any more. And then I actually added a couple of more bigger dots, and you'll see that I added it right over that ink splotch. So that's how I covered it up and kind of fixed it a little bit there, and it's really not even noticeable on my card anymore because of that dot that we stamped right over top of it. So to finish this pattern paper off, I think I added a couple more leaves here in the green apple color. And I'm just adding those kind of where there's still some space. I really didn't want there to be any space here because as it looks like there's not much space when it's huge like this, when we cut it down into 4s, you'll probably see the space a lot more when it's down to a smaller card size, and you'll be able to see all of the different spaces in between each one. So I really wanted to fill this cardstock up as much as I could. So then I'm cutting it into 4ths. I cut it into an A2 card size, actually a little bit smaller than that. And I'm going to be adding it onto a black mat, and I'm going to add that onto a card base in just a minute here. So then to prep for the sentiments, I'm going to be taking strips of cardstock, using my anti-static powder bag, and then I'm going to be using some Versamark ink. This is a clear sticky ink, so it will help me do some embossing here. And I'm taking a lot of different varieties of stamps from different stamp sets. I'm going for happy birthday images, or happy birthday sentiments here, and I'll be sure to link all the stamp sets that I use down below in the description so you can get all these sentiments. Sometimes I paired both of them together to make a kind of sentiment phrase here, and then I'm going to put some gold embossing over top of it and gold emboss it. Gold heat emboss it. Then I'll just tap off the excess embossing powder, and after it's heated, I'm going to cut it into a little banner end by cutting the center, and then cut 2 different sides going down into that center there to make a little banner shape. After I've cut all of these, I'm going to just really make sure that I can line that up nicely, and once that is cut, I'm going to add them onto the cards. So I have that happy birthday sentiment, and I cut them all into different banner ends and different things, so you'll see that they're all different, and I really wanted to make sure that they were, because sometimes I really don't like making all of the same card, so I'm glad that I put all different sentiments on here, and I really like kind of mixing up the manufacturer's sentiments and kind of mixing up the styles of these cards by using different sentiments. Now I'm adding little dots of glossy accents here because we're going to add a little mini sequins onto this card to finish it off with the embellishments. So I'm going to add a little tiny sequins. These are little tiny flat sequins here, and these are sparkling clear. And I'm using my quick sticks tool to add them to my card. I love adding sparkling clear sequins because it really doesn't add any more color to kind of distract from your card, but instead it adds to the background when you kind of tip into the light. You can see those clear sequins there. So I'm just going to continue adding those on, and that finishes up my cards. So I hope you guys really enjoyed these cards today. They were really quick to make, and getting 4 cards out of like 30 minutes of pattern paper is really great, and especially if you wanted to mass produce a card if you had a special event coming up. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and I hope you learned a little bit more as well. If you would like to, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would be greatly appreciated, and you will see many more videos in the future from me showing more different card making and crafting techniques. All of the products that I've used in today's video, all of the inks and stamps and things, will be listed down below in the description or over at my blog, inklips.com, and I appreciate you guys stopping by. Also, if you want to stop by inklips.com, there will be many still photos and a description of these cards. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I will see you in a little bit, hopefully, for another YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by. See you soon. Bye.